The idea that AI is creating a silent but massive economic shift that will reshape financial outcomes is not an exaggeration. It is the reality unfolding right now, even if most people haven't recognized its full impact yet. This shift isn't loud or theatrical. It doesn't look like a market crash or a global crisis that forces everyone to react immediately. Instead, it's happening quietly, integrating itself into the background of everyday workflows, business models, and decision-making systems in a way that gradually changes the rules of success. That is what makes it so powerful and so dangerous for those who are not paying attention. The most transformative changes in history often begin with a whisper, not a roar, and AI is following that same pattern. What makes this shift so significant is that it isn't just altering one industry or one type of job. It's influencing nearly every sector of the global economy. It is doing so not by replacing everything all at once, but by improving the speed, accuracy, and efficiency of existing processes. Whether it is analyzing financial markets, writing code, forecasting supply chains, optimizing medical diagnostics, or automating customer support, AI is weaving itself into every layer of productivity. And because productivity is the foundation of economic growth and long-term wealth creation, any force that enhances it on a large scale inevitably reshapes the distribution of wealth. This is why the shift is so consequential for individual financial futures as well as corporate and national competitiveness. In previous technological revolutions, the early beneficiaries were typically corporations and institutions with the capital to invest in new machinery or infrastructure. But this time, the shift is far more democratized. The tools are accessible to almost anyone with an internet connection, which means the potential for wealth creation is not limited to large organizations. Individuals who understand how to use AI can amplify their capabilities dramatically, creating opportunities that were once unimaginable for a single person. Yet this democratization also creates a widening gap between those who take action and those who dismiss the change or delay learning about it. The difference in outcomes grows slowly at first, almost invisibly, but eventually compounds to a level where the contrast becomes stark. The silent nature of the shift lies in the way AI integrates into decision-making processes without calling attention to itself. A company might use it to cut costs, enhance customer targeting, automate routine tasks, or refine strategic choices. An individual might use it to learn faster, plan better, research more deeply, or produce at a significantly higher output. These changes don't make headlines, but they lead to moments where competitors suddenly seem far behind without understanding what happened. The tipping point occurs when the compounding benefits of AI-assisted productivity break away from traditional methods, creating a new performance standard that those without AI simply cannot match. This shift is also reshaping financial markets. Companies that integrate AI effectively can scale faster, hire more strategically, reduce inefficiencies, and innovate at a speed that traditional firms cannot compete with. Investors who recognize these patterns early have an advantage because AI-driven companies are becoming the new engines of economic growth. This creates a feedback loop where capital flows toward innovation, further accelerating the divide between forward-moving sectors and those stuck in older methodologies. At the individual level, people who understand AI's economic implications can position themselves ahead of trends, gain insights others miss, and make more informed financial decisions. The most important aspect of this shift is that it is cumulative. Each new AI model, tool, or capability doesn't replace the last one, it builds on it. That means the rate of acceleration increases over time, pushing the world into a faster cycle of change. Those who adapt early get pulled upward by the momentum, while those who wait find themselves facing a steeper climb. This quiet acceleration is what makes the shift hidden to many, but obvious to those paying attention. Understanding that this transformation is occurring beneath the surface is the first step in preparing for the future. Those who recognize the shift can align their strategies, mindsets, and actions with it, while those who overlook it risk falling behind in ways they may not recover from. Throughout history, every major technological transition has followed a remarkably similar pattern. The early adopters move quietly, the majority dismisses or hesitates, and by the time the full impact becomes visible, the gap between the two groups is already enormous. This dynamic is not driven by luck or chance. It is driven by the natural sequence of human behavior in the face of change. Most people wait for certainty before they act, yet certainty only appears after the opportunity has already been captured by those willing to move before the crowd. This is why technological revolutions consistently reward those who embrace new tools early and leave behind those who delay until the shift becomes impossible to ignore. AI today is following that same pattern with even greater speed and intensity. When new technologies emerge, they often look incomplete, unpolished, or unproven in their early stages. Early versions rarely match the grand potential people imagine. Because of this, many individuals choose to sit on the sidelines, telling themselves they will step in when the technology becomes mature or reliable or mainstream. But by the time this happens, the people who took the early steps have already developed expertise, built systems around the new capabilities, positioned themselves in new markets, and gained a competitive advantage that the late adopters cannot easily overcome. The initial uncertainty that scares most people away is precisely what creates the opening for disproportionate rewards. This behavioral pattern appears in every era of innovation. When computers first arrived in offices, many saw them as unnecessary or even distracting. Those who learned to use them quickly became far more productive than their peers. When the internet emerged, early adopters of online business models built empires while traditional companies debated whether online activity even mattered. When smartphones became mainstream, individuals and businesses that adapted their strategies early unlocked opportunities that transformed entire industries. Each time, the shift arrived quietly, and each time, those who acted early captured value long before the rest understood what was happening. AI is repeating the same story, but on a scale that touches almost every task, profession, and decision-making process. What makes the current moment even more critical is that AI is not just another tool, it is a multiplier. It amplifies the abilities of those who use it. A person who embraces AI early doesn't just become slightly more effective, they become significantly more capable than someone relying solely on traditional methods. This means the difference between early adopters and latecomers is not linear, it is exponential. Small early advantages turn into large long-term advantages because AI compounds productivity, knowledge, and decision-making over time. This compounding effect is why early action is so heavily rewarded in periods of technological disruption. For the hesitant majority, the danger lies in assuming that time is on their side. They believe they can afford to wait, observe, and decide later. But waiting allows early adopters to move further ahead, to integrate AI into deeper layers of their work, to build systems and habits around it, and to develop an intuitive understanding of its strengths and limitations. By the time the hesitant group finally decides to adopt, they are not starting on equal ground, they are starting far behind, often without the ability to catch up. The advantage of early adoption is not merely about getting a head start. It's about locking in compounding benefits before others even enter the race. Technology does not reward comfort. It rewards adaptability. It rewards those willing to embrace tools when they are still unfamiliar. It rewards people who experiment, fail, learn, refine, and build early expertise. Those who wait for perfect clarity find themselves reacting instead of shaping their own outcomes. The world is moving too fast for reactive strategies to succeed. The financial opportunities created by AI will not wait for those who are slow to adapt. This is why technological transitions consistently reshape economic hierarchies. The early adopters recalibrate their skills, mindsets, and systems before the world fully shifts. By the time the late majority tries to catch up, the structure of opportunity has already been redefined. The people who moved early have already positioned themselves at the forefront of new industries, new workflows, and new sources of productivity. They didn't wait for certainty, they created it through action. AI-driven productivity gains are transforming the modern landscape in a way that is both subtle and monumental, creating a rapid divergence between those who use these tools and those who continue operating under older, slower methods. This divergence doesn't happen with dramatic announcements or obvious signals. It unfolds quietly through daily habits, workflows, and decisions. Over time, these small differences compound into major gaps in performance, output, and financial results. The people who understand how to integrate AI into their routine are beginning to operate at a completely different level of capability, and the separation between the two groups widens with each passing month. One of the reasons this divergence is accelerating is that AI drastically reduces the time and energy needed to accomplish complex tasks. A project that used to require weeks of research, analysis, and drafting might now take hours. A professional who once relied on a team to handle repetitive or data-heavy work can now accomplish the same tasks independently with AI-powered assistance. This shift doesn't merely improve efficiency, it fundamentally changes what is possible within a given time frame. People who tap into this power consistently gain an advantage that compounds like interest on capital. They produce more, learn faster, and make better informed decisions because AI continuously multiplies their efforts. The divergence becomes even more pronounced when you consider how AI improves decision-making. Human judgment is limited by cognitive biases, emotional swings, and gaps in information. AI, however, can analyze data more broadly and unemotionally, offering insights that individuals cannot produce on their own. Someone who uses AI to evaluate options, assess risks, or simulate outcomes has a clarity that others simply do not. This clarity influences financial choices, career paths, business strategies, and daily problem solving. Over time, better decisions lead to better results, and better results reinforce future decision-making. The individuals who do not use AI are often unaware that the people outperforming them are not necessarily smarter, they are simply augmenting their intelligence with a tool the others aren't using. Another major factor behind this productivity-driven divide is the evolving nature of expertise. In previous eras, expertise required years of study, apprenticeship, and experience. Today, AI accelerates mastery by granting instant access to knowledge, examples, best practices, and feedback. A person using AI can condense years of learning into weeks or months by rapidly iterating, generating, and refining ideas. Meanwhile, those who rely solely on traditional methods move at the pace of old learning cycles. This creates a world where the speed of skill acquisition becomes a defining factor of personal and financial trajectory. The skill gap becomes less about inherent intelligence and more about the willingness to adopt new tools that amplify learning. The divergence also shows up in creativity and problem solving. People who collaborate with AI can produce a higher volume of ideas, explore more alternatives, and pursue creative directions that would have been too time-consuming before. They can brainstorm at scale, test concepts quickly, and iterate without hesitation. Those who avoid AI often generate fewer ideas and are limited by the boundaries of their own mind and experience. Creativity becomes another asset where the gap grows wider, because the AI-enhanced thinker is operating with an endless reservoir of inspiration, patterns, and possibilities. What makes this shift even more consequential is that it quietly changes the definition of normal performance. In many fields, the baseline expectation for output and quality is rising because AI is lifting the ceiling of what individuals can accomplish. The people who refuse or delay adoption find themselves increasingly overwhelmed, struggling to keep up with expectations that have silently evolved. It is not that their effort has decreased, it is that the standard has elevated while they remained at the previous level. Over time, this mismatch leads to financial stress, career stagnation, and diminishing opportunities. Meanwhile, those who integrate AI early experience compounding advantages. Their productivity attracts recognition, promotions, clients, or investment. Their improved decision-making reduces costly mistakes and opens pathways others overlook. Their accelerated learning makes them adaptable in a world that rewards flexibility. All of these benefits accumulate, pushing them further ahead while the non-adopters fall farther behind. The key is understanding that this divergence is not temporary, it is structural. Once AI becomes central to productivity, it does not revert backward. The gap will continue to grow as AI tools advance, and those who harness them early will remain ahead because they built habits, systems, and mindsets aligned with the new reality. Those who delay risk waking up one day to find that the people who started at the same level as them are now operating in an entirely different league, not because of luck, but because they embraced a tool that multiplies every action they take. AI is fundamentally reshaping leverage in a way that is unlike anything the world has seen, and this new form of leverage is widening the gap between those who embrace it and those who resist it at an exponential rate. Leverage has always been the force that separates average outcomes from extraordinary ones. In the past, leverage came from capital, labor, or technology. Those who controlled factories, employees, or machines could produce more than those without them. Today, AI represents a new kind of leverage, one that doesn't require large budgets, physical assets, or massive teams. It is accessible to anyone, yet only a fraction of people are utilizing it. This creates a divergence where the adopters gain a level of operational, intellectual, and creative power that allows them to outpace others by wide margins. AI-driven leverage allows individuals to accomplish tasks that once required a full team. A single entrepreneur can now manage customer service, marketing, finance, research, and product development at a level previously reserved for established companies. A single analyst can outperform departments that once required dozens of professionals. A single creator can produce content at the pace of a small media studio. This shift dramatically alters what is possible for one person to achieve, and when one person can do the work of 10 or 20, the competitive landscape transforms. The adopters move faster, cost less, and produce more value, inevitably capturing a greater share of opportunities and rewards. The widening gap comes from the compounding nature of this leverage. When someone uses AI to save time, the time saved can be reinvested into higher-level tasks. Their improved output brings more opportunities, and those opportunities bring more learning and more leverage. Meanwhile, individuals who are not using AI continue working at the traditional pace, often feeling increasingly pressured and overwhelmed, without understanding why their efforts no longer seem to yield the same results. They are not working less, they are simply working in a system that has evolved without them. The difference grows slowly at first, but as AI tools become more advanced, the gap accelerates. This divide becomes even more visible in problem solving and innovation. AI users can explore more ideas, test more hypotheses, and iterate more quickly. The cost of experimentation drops dramatically because AI reduces the time and resources needed to try new approaches. People who rely on traditional methods must think longer, work harder, and take greater risk while still producing fewer iterations. Since innovation depends on the number of attempts and the speed of refinement, AI-enhanced individuals naturally produce breakthroughs more frequently. Over time, this consistent innovation gives them an advantage that late adopters cannot match because they are not simply ahead, they are evolving faster. Another aspect of leverage is information processing. AI can analyze vast amounts of data in moments, identifying patterns and insights that humans might overlook entirely. Individuals who integrate AI into their decision-making gain clarity and precision, allowing them to see opportunities and risks sooner than others. They can make more confident decisions while reducing emotional biases that often lead to costly mistakes. This leads to better financial outcomes, more strategic career moves, and a more accurate understanding of reality. Those who do not use AI remain limited by subjective judgment and slower analysis, widening the performance gap even further. The psychological dimension of leverage cannot be ignored. People who effectively use AI begin to trust their ability to take on larger challenges, tackle complex projects, and operate at higher levels. Their confidence grows not because they know everything themselves, but because they know they have an intelligent partner enhancing their thinking. This confidence leads them to pursue opportunities others shy away from, and pursuing more opportunities naturally increases their chances of meaningful success. Meanwhile, those who avoid AI often experience the opposite effect. They feel increasingly unsure, stretched thin, or inadequate as they watch others accelerate. This widening gap is structural because once new leverage becomes the norm, those who operate without it simply cannot compete on equal terms. They may eventually adopt AI out of necessity, but by the time they do, the early adopters have already built systems, workflows, and expertise that keep them ahead. The adopters also benefit from the network effects of new technologies collaborating with other high-leverage individuals, forming stronger partnerships, and accessing more advanced opportunities that are closed to those who lag behind. The exponential nature of AI leverage means the gap will continue to grow as the technology improves. What feels like a small difference today will become a massive divide in a few years. AI is not just another tool in the toolbox. It is a multiplier that enhances intelligence, creativity, speed, and decision-making all at once. Those who embrace it expand what they can achieve. Those who resist it anchor themselves to a world that is rapidly disappearing. Success in this new era depends on adaptability, curiosity, and continuous reinvention, because the foundation of economic advantage has shifted from fixed knowledge to fluid capability. The world is no longer rewarding people merely for what they already know. It is rewarding those who can evolve as fast as the environment around them changes. AI is accelerating that pace of change, rewriting the rules of competitiveness faster than traditional institutions, traditional career paths, and traditional mindsets can keep up with. In such a landscape, rigidity becomes a liability and adaptability becomes a form of strength. The individuals who thrive are the ones who refuse to cling to familiar methods just because they feel comfortable. Instead, they approach the world with a willingness to learn, unlearn, and relearn constantly. Curiosity plays a central role in this transformation because the people who ask questions, explore tools, and experiment with new technologies are the ones discovering new opportunities first. They are the ones who see patterns emerging before the majority notices them. They are also the ones who uncover new ways to solve problems, create value, and reduce inefficiencies. Curiosity pushes people into the unknown, into the frontier of what is possible with AI. And that frontier is where the new sources of wealth are forming. Those who lack curiosity often wait for someone else to show them the way, but by the time the path is clear, the early movers have already captured most of the value. Adaptability becomes equally crucial because AI is not a single event, it is a continuous, evolving force. The tools available today will not be the tools available next year. A workflow that gives you an advantage now may become obsolete as new capabilities emerge. This means success is no longer tied to mastering one specific skill set, but to mastering the process of updating yourself. The people who adapt quickly can reposition themselves as the world changes. They can shift careers, adjust strategies, and learn new systems without feeling threatened. Meanwhile, those who resist change or rely too heavily on past achievements find themselves trapped by their own rigidity, struggling to stay relevant in a world that no longer operates by the old rules. Continuous reinvention becomes the new form of job security. In an era where AI can automate or augment almost any task, the safest strategy is not to protect one role, but to constantly expand your capabilities. Reinvention means upgrading your skills, experimenting with new tools, seeking new perspectives, and staying open to transformation. It means refusing to define yourself by a single identity, employee, specialist, manager, and instead embracing a mindset of evolution. The most successful people will be those who build their identity around growth rather than around a fixed label or expertise. The need for reinvention is also tied to the way AI is redistributing value. As automation takes over routine tasks, human value shifts toward creativity, strategy, judgment, emotional intelligence, and the ability to shape systems rather than merely operate them. These are dynamic skills that require ongoing refinement. You cannot simply learn them once and consider the process complete. Reinvention ensures you stay aligned with what the market demands and what the world rewards. Another aspect of adaptability and reinvention is resilience. When the world changes quickly, setbacks are inevitable. Projects will fail, industries will shift, and the skills that once felt secure may no longer hold the same weight. People who succeed in this environment are those who can absorb shocks without losing momentum. They recover quickly, adjust their approach, and continue moving forward. They view failure as information rather than a personal defeat. This resilience allows them to navigate uncertainty with confidence, while others freeze or retreat. The individuals who combine curiosity, adaptability, and reinvention become the architects of their own trajectory. They don't wait for someone to grant them permission to evolve. They don't depend on institutions to prepare them for the future. They take responsibility for shaping their own path, continually upgrading their thinking and expanding their possibilities. They use AI as an amplifier, not a replacement. They leverage it to extend their capabilities, explore new ideas, and push beyond the limits of what they could accomplish on their own. Meanwhile, those who remain static begin to experience the world as if it is moving away from them. They feel more pressure, more uncertainty, and more confusion because the tools and systems around them advance faster than their mindset does. They may work just as hard as before, but the results diminish because the rules of effectiveness have changed. Their inability to adapt becomes their greatest obstacle, not the technology itself. In a rapidly changing world, the people who thrive are not necessarily the ones with the most resources or the highest intelligence, but the ones with the greatest capacity for change. They cultivate a mindset that welcomes new information, seeks new challenges, and embraces the discomfort of growth. They understand that reinvention is not an event but a lifelong practice, and they move through the world with the humility to learn and the courage to evolve. Your financial future will depend heavily on how quickly and effectively you embrace and integrate AI, because the mechanisms that create wealth, opportunity, and upward mobility are being redefined at a speed that leaves no room for passive participation. For most of history, financial outcomes were shaped by stable patterns: education, experience, industry growth, and geographic opportunity. But in this era, those patterns are shifting. AI is reshaping what skills matter, what work looks like, how decisions are made, and which individuals gain the most leverage from their time. The people who integrate AI early place themselves in a position where intelligence, productivity, and creativity are amplified. Those who refuse or delay fall behind, not because they lack talent, but because they're operating without the most powerful tool of the age. The core of this shift lies in the compounding nature of AI-assisted work. Every task you enhance with AI becomes faster, more accurate, and more scalable. And every hour saved becomes an hour you can reinvest in learning, earning, or building. Those reinvested hours create a compounding effect over weeks, months, and years. This is why early adoption matters. the benefits stack on top of each other, forming a widened gap between adopters and non-adopters. If two people start at the same point, the one who integrates AI into their workflow pulls ahead with each cycle of improvement. Over time, the gap becomes too large to close. AI amplifies the output of those who use it, and that amplification leads directly to stronger financial trajectories. The integration of AI also determines how well you navigate new opportunities. Entire industries are being restructured by automation and AI-driven processes. New fields are emerging that didn't exist a few years ago. Jobs that once defined careers are shifting or disappearing entirely. In this kind of environment, financial advantage comes from understanding where the world is going, not where it has been. AI gives you visibility into trends, insights, and emerging patterns that are otherwise invisible. It allows you to analyze markets, identify inefficiencies, evaluate investments, and understand risk with a level of clarity that conventional methods cannot match. Those who use AI strategically can anticipate change instead of reacting to it, and anticipating change is one of the most powerful financial skills anyone can develop. Your ability to integrate AI also shapes the quality of your decisions. Financial success is not just about hard work, it's about making fewer mistakes, seeing more options, and choosing the right paths at the right times. AI is a tool that sharpens decision-making by providing data, pattern recognition, and analytical depth that the human mind alone cannot consistently deliver. When people make decisions with limited information, they often fall into emotional biases, fear, impatience, overconfidence, doubt. AI reduces the noise and helps you evaluate choices objectively. Those who rely on AI-supported judgment avoid pitfalls that cost others time, money, and opportunity. Over years, the difference between good decisions and average decisions becomes enormous, and AI acts as a force multiplier for better judgment. The financial impact of AI integration is also influenced by adaptability. The world is moving so quickly that sticking to one fixed way of working becomes financially dangerous. Those who use AI regularly become more adaptable because the tools help them learn faster, pivot sooner, and stay aligned with new expectations. They upgrade their skills continually because AI accelerates their learning process. Meanwhile, individuals who avoid AI become anchored to outdated methods and outdated assumptions about how the economy works. This creates a divergence where one group becomes increasingly future-ready while the other becomes increasingly vulnerable to disruptions. Adaptability supported by AI becomes a form of long-term financial resilience. AI also affects income potential. People who embrace it often find themselves taking on higher value roles, producing more impressive results, and unlocking new streams of income, consulting, freelancing, investing, automating side businesses, or building digital products. Their increased efficiency allows them to scale their contributions, often earning more without working more. Those who don't embrace AI may work just as hard, but they often earn less because their work does not scale. Income grows with leverage, and AI is the greatest form of personal leverage available today. The speed at which you integrate AI also influences how well you capture emerging opportunities in entrepreneurship and investment. Many of the most profitable opportunities of the coming decade will revolve around AI-enabled products, services, and innovations. Those who understand AI early will be positioned to take advantage of these opportunities when they are most accessible. Those who wait will be entering markets where the major gains have already been captured by early movers. Historically, every technological revolution rewards the early adopters disproportionately. AI is no different, but its acceleration makes the window of advantage smaller. In this new era, your financial future is not determined by your level of effort alone, but by the tools you choose to amplify that effort. AI doesn't replace ambition, discipline, or creativity. It multiplies them. It widens the gap between those who use it and those who don't, not gradually, but exponentially. The sooner you decide to integrate it into your thinking, your workflow, and your strategies, the more control you gain over your financial trajectory.